What if I told you there was a way as a new mom to make sure your baby was getting the best nutrition possible? It's something that's available to everyone, and it's something that is not going to be of any cost to you. I'm here, of course, today to talk about breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is, according to the World Health Organization, one of the best ways to make sure your child gets the very best nutrition possible, and is recommended for newborn up to 2 years old, actually. I know here in our culture today in the United States, it's pretty uncommon for someone to breastfeed all the way to 2 years old. Um, the World Health Organization, though, does recommend that newborns be exclusively breastfed for optimal nutrition for the first 6 months before any food is introduced. And that research is kind of starting to go into medical journals and start being recommended by pediatricians rather than the normal 4 months. So since that's one of the best ways to make sure your children get enough nutrition, I am here to kind of talk about the difference between using formula and breastfeeding and why it's so important, and some of the barriers to breastfeeding as well. Some of the moms who don't breastfeed have several really good reasons. Sometimes here in our society in America, it isn't really totally the norm to breastfeed. It's starting to become that way more often, but a lot of moms use formula. Some of the reasons I think that is for one, a lack of support. Support for breastfeeding is absolutely important. Having your family be supportive, having your friends be supportive, especially having your husband or your partner be supportive, is one of the main reasons I think that people don't breastfeed, is if they don't have that support. If they don't feel like they know what they're doing, if they don't have a lactation consultant. So finding your resources for support are so important when you are starting out breastfeeding. A lot of moms are worried that they won't be able to produce enough milk. They're worried that their baby won't have enough nutrition, that they won't be growing at the rate that they're supposed to. And really, I think a lot of that is a lack of education on the mom's part. And it's not their fault. It's just a lot of this education information hasn't been totally available in our society until I feel like pretty lately. So some of the common reasons that moms would try to breastfeed and then maybe stop in the first few days would be that they don't feel like they have enough milk. Colostrum is the milk that starts when the baby is first born, and it's actually a really rich, full of nutrient substance that is the perfect food for a newborn. You may not feel like you have a lot of volume of milk coming out, but it's still the perfect amount that your baby needs, as long as they are meeting all of their guidelines that your doctor will give you for, being alert and awake and having enough output and different things like that, that you actually may have more nutrients for your baby than you think. And several days after the baby's born, usually you'll start to have your milk come in. A mom's diet is really important in breastfeeding and being able to keep it up, especially for the time that the World Health Organization recommends, for the extended time. A lot of moms in our culture eat a diet that might be high in calories, but it's low in nutrients. It can be high in sugars and carbs and things like that that aren't really going to help your body provide what your baby needs. So having a diet that's really high in vegetables, proteins, fruits, whole grains, things like that will definitely help with your milk supply. And I think a lot of moms would be surprised that just changing their diet would actually allow them to breastfeed and allow them to have good, healthy milk for their babies. Sometimes a baby will have a tongue tie or a lip tie, and actually just like the skin in the bottom of their lip or their tongue is tied down and they're not able to have a good latch. That's something that babies can be evaluated for before they leave the hospital. Something that's really important in making sure you have a good start to breastfeeding and a good milk supply. And then also, some moms are worried about going back to work. Like, when they go back to work, will they be able to continue breastfeeding, and is it going to be worth it to try if they may not be able to pump at work? And just a word of encouragement is that it's actually legally required, at least in our state, but I think nationally as well, that employers provide not only a space for you to breastfeed, but time for you to breastfeed or pump while you're at work as well if you're a new mom. So, all of these things are barriers, and they're really truly real concerns that a lot of moms have, but I just want to encourage you and tell you some of the reasons why it's so worth it to go ahead and work through these concerns and work with your doctor and your lactation consultant and the support system that you have to continue to breastfeed your new baby. So now you get to talk about the positives. Why would you want to breastfeed? Breast milk is one of the most amazing things that you could possibly feed your baby. Our breast milk has natural immunity for your baby, plenty of vitamins, fat, minerals, and all the energy that they need in the perfect amount that their little bodies require. And the milk actually changes in the mom as the baby grows, and it just continually provides the right nutrition for them. Another thing that babies really need is just emotional bonding and physical touch, and having your baby right next to you while you're feeding them is a great way to make sure that you've got that, and it's good for the mom and it's good for the baby, because the mom is going to be sitting down or laying down with the baby, and they'll be resting the amount that they need to as well. Breast milk provides 100% of nutrients in healthy moms and babies up to 6 months old. And then from 6 to 12 months, it can provide up to 50% of nutrients when supplemented with healthy baby foods, as recommended by your doctor. The World Health Organization provides this information and says that actually over 12 months, from 12 to 23 months, it can provide up to 30% of fat and energy requirements for toddlers as well. So they recommend the more breast milk that a baby gets, essentially, the better. And extended breastfeeding is also really good for the mom. It can help reduce the risk of certain cervical cancers, breast cancers, and other just health risks. It can help the mom avoid obesity and lose weight in the postpartum period. And actually, I thought this was pretty amazing. Breastfed children are less likely to be obese. They're more likely to have increased intelligence and do better on standardized tests, and even to have a higher income later in life. I feel like just any of those reasons would be enough that if you're a new mom, even considering breastfeeding, that you would want to do some more research and really try your best, because it's one of the best things that you can do for your baby without it being something that's expensive. So let me just recap really quick. Breastfeeding is the best nutrition possible for your baby. Breastfeeding exclusively up to 6 months old will help reduce, sickness in your newborn. It can increase the digestive system, and it provides emotional bonding, saves your family money, and is good for the mom as well. I recommend that breastfeeding is something you look into if you're a new mom.